How do children benefit from art? This is the question we've been asking ourselves in preparation of the exhibition Lake Full of Stars. And it's the question we'll continue to be asking in dialogue with our audiences, parents and children, visiting Mo Museum, but also educators and really all people concerned with the well-being of children. This exhibition is an invitation to widen our scope as a society about the way children learn from art. To start off this discussion, I will go over some ideas that helped to shape this exhibition in a way that is both attractive and effective in terms of education. The existing literature on museum education tells us that art makes children smarter, more communicative, more socially adapted, more expressive, more empathic. Our own educational experiences tell us the same thing. But, there is a but, only if children find a way to connect to the art. The bottom line is connection takes time. Time to activate the senses and to make cognitive links. The benefits of art for children are accumulative. A little bit like friendships are accumulative. The more you hang out with someone, the more you start to like them, usually. And as in friendships, the key to deep connections is open dialogue. In all of our claims about the benefits of art for children, you will find dialogue as the main ingredient. Talk to the art, or better yet, listen to your children talk about the art and share your different perceptions. I would like to share a few exchanges that I've had with parents, friends, and colleagues here at the museum. Imagine us standing in front of this photograph by Romualdas Požerskis. I'll say something highly idealistic, like art helps children shape their identity. And they'll raise an eyebrow at me. Really? How about horseback riding? True, children do learn to understand their boundaries physically first. Clearly, this child is developing notions about difference, vulnerability, and trust. I dare say, though, that he's not in a good position to reflect on these things right now. Whereas a child standing in front of the artwork can. What would she do if a horse tried to bite her? Would she pull away? Would that make her a coward? No way. Horses have huge teeth. Yet the photo shows the boy in a less than heroic position. Is the artist mocking him? In a sense, he is, but not malevolently. He's just recognizing the humanity of the situation. Humor is an amazing coping skill that helps adults soften the harsh edges of life. Children don't do irony, however. What might the child in front of the picture decide about this humor message? Will she toughen up and develop a sense of humor too? Irony? Or does she manage to maintain a more wholehearted connection with the child in the picture, in which case we might learn something from her. Because irony, as much as that it protects us, also limits our perception. We shield the parts of us that might feel hurt or frightened. Maybe the next generation will find ways to embrace vulnerability as part of their human identity. This handsome raven is by Stasys Eidrigevičius. He made it as an ex libris, a vignette that people use to mark the ownership of their books. It's only 9 centimeters wide, postcard size. If you have difficulty seeing it right now on your screen, that's why. It's really tiny. My claim here is that art makes children smart. But my conversation partner loves books. And she says, how about reading? Fair enough, but I can almost hear the raven thinking, please don't believe everything you read. So let me rephrase my claim then. Art trains children to think critically. Let's not forget that letters originated from images. When children reflect on something they read, they actually reflect not on the words, but on the images those words evoke in their brain. That's not something we can take credit for as an art museum. That's simply the way the human brain is wired. The rational parts of our brains like to think in images. What art museums can do is to make children aware of their visual strengths and develop them. Children often respond to art with more ingenuity than to written texts, because the printed word carries an authority that is difficult to overrule. That's why we decided not to display any form of identification labels next to the artworks in the exhibition. Because even this tiny amount of text lowers children's confidence to use their own innate thinking skills. Visual literacy, design thinking, evidential reasoning, critical thinking, the Socratic method. What all these strategies have in common is that they are based on a simple cognitive skill, questioning images. And children are perfectly equipped to do that. When children look at art, they compare what they see to what they remember, as memories are images too. Their experiences become tools. They use the tools to make sense out of art, but once they connect to the art, it also works the other way around. They can start to use art to make sense out of their lives. Monika Vajcenavičena, The River is a Mystery. This is an illustration from a children's book called What is a River? I showed this book to a friend and claimed that art helps children to develop personal taste. My friend, who is a musician, spotted a mermaid playing the violin. Do you see her in the right of the picture? Undine. My friend said, how about learning to play a musical instrument? Doesn't that shape your taste? I agree that learning to read sheet music and mastering an instrument puts children in a better position to assess the quality of the music, or if they were learning how to paint, it would help them assess the quality of a painted artwork. But that's not what I mean by developing taste. Skill training and style conformity are important. It's a part of education. But sometimes children also need to sing their own tune. In those cases, the expression and acceptance of difference is more valuable than any carefully studied harmony. What I mean by developing taste is for children to get to know what they need and where to get it. I think artists have mastered that skill. Get to know what you need and work up the courage to break with conformity. But you don't have to become an artist to benefit from art or to develop taste, a taste for art. When children simply get exposed to a lot of different styles and themes, they increase their chances at connecting with artworks that really resonate with them. One last exchange. A painting by Gilles. It's called Summer. My claim here: art connects children to their senses. The response? So does nature. Absolutely, so does nature. That is why we chose nature as a theme, because we recognize the link between art and nature on a sensory level. One of the reasons that art museums are becoming increasingly important as resources for children to nourish their imagination is that opportunities to spend time in nature are becoming increasingly rare. Now, Vilnius, without any doubt, is the most forested capital I have ever lived in, but urban sprawl is happening here, like in the rest of the world. And perhaps more importantly, digitalization is happening. Children are becoming more and more screen-bound. Theoretically, these screens connect them to the world, but not through their senses. And I think that is a problem. Curating this exhibition, we very much stress the importance of sensory experiences because we see them as the basis of all imagination. For some children growing up in an urban, digitally oriented environment, art museums have become one of the few places where they can reconnect with their senses. As you saw in Yvette's presentation, we invested heavily in this notion. Somehow I think children will not be the only ones benefiting from this decision. I wonder how many adults we will find playing in the sandbox over the next 6 months. I'm going to wrap up here, but I think we should have many more discussions like this in the next 6 months. I hope you will visit Mo Museum with your children and let us know what you think. Does art help children to shape their identity, their understanding, their resilience, their well-being? How do you think children benefit from art? Thank you.